Coach of the Year. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's talk about, do you have the ring? Is there a ring? Do you have the banner? Because some coaches come always prepped with the swag for a situation like this.
I don't have the swag yet. COVID kind of threw a whole wrench in all of that. We haven't even had our banquet yet, unfortunately. The girls have been such troopers about it. But yes, no swag at the moment.
I think a lot of people forget that this kind of did start all the way back in the very tail end of the winter season and not quite as spring specific as people realize. So you get the news, you're the female coach of the year. There's a lot to unpack there. Let's just start with, your reaction to finding out.
Well, there was a bit of jumping. I was pretty excited. I'm not a San Diego native. So I'm really new to the community. I've been here for about 5 years, and I knew it was a huge honor, even having been here for only 5 years. So I was really thrilled and really humbled.
So let's talk about this championship, because wrestling, not admittedly a mainstream sport, not a lot of people know that it's not necessarily, you just lined up directly against PAAG and you ran a bunch of wrestling moves and you won. It's a very team-involved, team-centric type of experience. So what was this championship process like for you?
The process was a team process, just as you mentioned. We had an amazing team this year. Both our athletes and our coaching staff were absolutely fabulous. We, as coaches, kind of all came together, and we all had different skill sets, and we all had different things that we brought to the table, which was super exciting. And this year, the girls were just fabulous. We had, various bumps in the road, but everybody kept their heads high. Everybody worked really hard. And I think the cool thing about the team itself was that we had so many different levels of experience, and everybody just came together. It was very cohesive. Wrestling's a very individual sport as well. But to have the winning team, you really have to have the team dynamic as well. And we definitely had that.
You mentioned bumps in the road. I don't think there's a hard and fast rule for what the ratio is of X's and O's coaching to just being there for young adults as they are need some sort of positive influence in your life. But for you, right, where is that balance this season? Is it 50-50? Talk a little bit more about those bumps in the road.
Yeah, so one of the big bumps in the road was everybody got really sick before our dual meet against Hilltop. It was going to be the meet of the year. Ended up losing it, and we came back and won the inaugural Metro tournament that Saturday, 2 days later. But we had a lot of people who were really, really sick for that meet, and everybody had worked really hard. And then there's just always, when you have a room as big as we have, there's just always bumps in dynamics between, athletes and coaches. And the girls are just such sensitive women, and that just was never anything that infiltrated their positivity or their work ethic. They're able to kind of just, whether they're having issues at home or issues in school, they put that aside when they into the wrestling room, and they just give it 110% every day. And as a coach, that's all you can really ask for, frankly, is that positivity and that hard work ethic. And they all brought that. And so I'd say the biggest bump was the multiple people being really, really sick, multiple starters being sick before that last dual meet. But Hilltop's an amazing team, and they earned that win for sure.
Your season, it runs a couple months, but this is pretty much a year-round group of people that you caretake for. So it's got to feel kind of nice, not only having a CIF championship under your belt at the end of all this, but also having a little bit of public recognition. I know every coach is going to play the humble card, but it has to feel nice that there's at least a nod to, hey, look, we get that this is a year-long thing that you put in for these girls, so here's a little bit of thank you back.
It does feel good. And you mentioned earlier that wrestling isn't the most mainstream sport. So, that's just the nature of not just being a coach, but also being a wrestling coach. It's not mainstream. We don't have kids who are signing to, basketball teams that everybody follows in March Madness, and, the kind of sports that really have that media attention behind it. But it's also kind of one of the reasons why I love the sport. The kids do it because the best feeling in anything is getting your hand raised after you stepped on the mat. You did the work to get there. You were the one who pulled whatever, like, you know, passion you needed to pull out of that last overtime match. Coach Levi, one of the other coaches on the team, he always says the best view in the world is from the top of a podium. And so that's why you do it. For wrestling, it's a little bit different. But yeah, it's great to get some recognition. Like I said, I was incredibly honored when I got the information.
Well, okay, so go ahead, do this. Raise up your arm for me. Raise up your arm for me, and we'll all give you a big round of applause and a salute. And yeah, there you go. That is the top. That's a nice blue teal looking podium that she has there in her backyard that she's sitting on. And so I'm sure the view looks pretty nice from it. We really appreciate you being on with us. Congratulations again. Your female coach of the year, Chanda Peterson from Olympian High School Girls Wrestling. She's a CIF champ. She's the coach of the year. So I guess that means you got to repeat in both of them next year. No pressure. None whatsoever.
Yeah, no pressure. No pressure.
Thank you so much for being on with us. Stay safe. And when you end up having that banquet with the girls, please let them also give you a big round of applause for all of your hard work as you send them off.
Thank you
so much, sports fans, for joining us, and we'll talk to you guys soon.